That is the opening bell on Wall Street. The Atlanta World Cup host committee is at the podium today. You can see Georgia Governor Brian Kemp there, as well as Atlanta's Mayor Andre Dickens. And here is a live look at the Dow at the open. Things are looking down at the start. There we go, right there, down about 1%. Joining us now this morning is Spencer Jakab from the Wall Street Journal. Spencer, let's talk about oil prices. Obviously, there's been a lot of activity near the Strait of Hormuz. We've seen prices go up since the president launched these military operations in Iran. What has been the impact on U.S. and global markets from this?
Good morning. The knee-jerk reaction in oil markets whenever there's any kind of military action in the Middle East, especially involving a major producer like Iran, is for them to go up, and that's what we've seen. And this is a bit more lasting than the last couple of episodes in the sense that when the head of Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps was assassinated by the U.S. in 2020, you had a spike and then a very sharp drop. The first Gulf War, you had a big buildup in terms of fear and a lot of positioning in futures ahead of the start of bombing. And then you had the largest ever collapse in oil prices in history in the days following. Because the fear tends to build up in financial markets. Right now, we do see actual disruptions to oil flows in the sense that ships are not getting insurance to transit the Strait of Hormuz, that very narrow waterway that sits astride Iranian waters, and that's actually cutting the oil flow. We've had a refinery hit in Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, the world's largest natural gas exporter, has halted flows as well. So there are some real, at least short-term impacts on the energy market.
Yeah, there are real fundamental changes going on the ground. It's not just the feeling of greater anxiety that's pushing oil prices up. We're seeing a tightening there of one of the ways in which oil gets to the rest of the world. I believe 20% of our oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz. But Spencer, let's talk about consumers here in the U.S. What will be the impact beyond higher prices at the pump, and how long do you think this could last?
It's unclear how long this will last, because if the goal is regime change in Iran, that's much more difficult to accomplish than, say, during the campaign to overthrow Saddam Hussein, which lasted itself quite a while. Iran is a larger producer than Iraq was then. It's probably more cohesive, has more means at its disposal. There's no land invasion going on here. On the other hand, it's also possible that this will somehow resolve itself and quiet down, and some semblance of the regime will remain in power, and that's how it's going to end, with its missile and nuclear capabilities diminished, and just sort of end in a stalemate, a bloody nose for Iran. That's probably the most likely outcome, but it's impossible to say right now with the fog of war surrounding us. How would it affect energy consumers? If it's a prolonged conflict, then it will still be mild compared to people who have memories of the 1970s. In 1973, when Egypt and Syria attacked Israel and the U.S. sent some assistance, you had the Arab oil embargo where oil prices quadrupled. After the Iranian Revolution in 1979, you had a more than doubling in oil prices. But the world is a much more flexible place now in terms of energy markets and everything else. And so the impact would be much shorter lived and much milder than at that time. So no gas lines for sure.
All right, Spencer Jakab, thank you so much from the Wall Street Journal. We appreciate it.